What had happened was it was 2007, and I was dead in the middle of my advertising career. I'm working at this place now shuttered called IQ Interactive. I was a senior designer coming from Los Angeles, where the art departments were a lot more liberal. We would have philosophical discussions while we worked. I thought this was the same type of culture would be present and welcomed, as I view most artists as accepting of the diverse viewpoints. This was not necessarily the case. One day, while working diligently on a campaign, we were discussing movies. I asked the question, what do you think was the most racist movie that they ever watched? I volunteered answering first since it was my question. King Kong. All the designers in the department seemed puzzled. What? I responded, because King Kong was a metaphor for the fear of black men's progress. You see, in 1933, black progress gave white men the heebie-jeebies. Despite hundreds of years of slavery, the halting of Reconstruction post the Civil War, decades of Jim Crow, the terror campaign of the KKK, and black people not being able to properly vote, redlining, and all other dastardly deeds against the black population, African Americans still were advancing faster than white supremacy could contain it. Even destroying black towns like Tulsa and Wilmington didn't quell white men's fear of the black men coveting its most prized possession, white women. That to me was what the movie was all about. Despite there being plenty of native dark-skinned women present on Skull Island, King Kong lost his ever-loving mind once he saw the white woman from the ship. This would push King Kong to risk it all, eventually ending up in bondage, escaping and getting shot at the top of the Empire State Building, which just so happens to resemble a large penis. It was a hit. 90% of the design department was white, which responded with nervous laughter and sarcasm. Moments later, one of my coworkers printed out an image of Al Sharpton with an R in the corner and placed the paper on my desk. "Play this next time," he said. Now, at first I was offended, as I thought this was an attempt to shut me up by ridiculing my hot take. Suddenly, inspiration struck. What if I took this paper and turned it into a bit more polished item and played it on others like it played on me? I would call it the race card. So I went home and created a project called the race card. I figured it would be a fun, real-life way of calling subtle racism out by throwing down the card like a referee flag to highlight when someone says something that is racially offensive. I created an illustration of the two pieces for racial strife by the opposing black and white perspectives. Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson would represent the black card. Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh would represent the white. I hardly ever found myself in agreement with Bill or Rush because a broken clock is right twice a day and white men need representation because this is America. On the back, I put a statement saying, "You have received the race card. Please take a moment to reflect upon the statement or action that you have just done that have been racially offensive or insensitive." It was a lighthearted way of pointing out a serious matter. I thought, let me put the power of discernment in the people's hands. I created a flash animated website and store to sell the race cards. 10 cards in a pack, 5 black cards, and 5 white cards. I shared them with my coworkers, which they found amusing. After running into Monica Kaufman randomly and handing her some race cards, she immediately wanted to put them on TV. It ended up being my first television interview ever for something I created with WSB-TV Channel 2 Atlanta. This was a huge confidence boost for my desire to be an artist, despite still working for the man. The race cards ended up traveling as an art installation in Jack Daniels' Art, Beats, and Lyrics. Funny thing is, I was worried about hurrying up and selling the race cards because Obama was looking like he was going to win the presidency, thus eradicating the power of white supremacy. Boy, was I hilariously wrong. The race cards are still available for purchase on the link in the bio. Use responsibly, and the rest is his story.